Hi guys, welcome back to Raptor's Garage. Now, continuation from the last video where I was working on the rear winch tray on this truck with Chris. I've got to finish some bits off on it. When Chris went the other day, it's now about 2 days ago. I'm trying to think, I have no idea what day it is. It's Thursday, which means nothing to the sequence of the videos coming out, but it is Thursday. But I've got to finish a little bit of grinding and some welding. I missed a couple of bits because it was getting late in the day and we were trying to wrap stuff up before it chucked it down. But I've just got to finish some bits off. It's just a couple of finish welds. Re-weld one piece where I've actually ground the weld back and the weld was shit, basically. So I've just got to re-weld it. For some reason it just didn't take, it just sat on the surface, it had no penetration to it at all, and I don't know why. I think it was the angle I was actually welding at, it just wanted to lay on top and it hasn't actually penetrated. Even though it is back welded on the other side and that has taken perfectly. So let me just show you what I'm going to do with that, and I want to change the rear diff. Now the rear diff on this truck is alright, it's not noisy, but I've actually got a better diff. We are going to put an air locker in it, but for now, because we haven't got an air locker and I have got the other diff, I'm going to just pull the rear diff out. I want to check the wheel bearings anyway, so it's a case of finishing off the welding, putting some paint on that, and I'm just going to change this diff. I'm waiting on some parts for the engine. I'm waiting for the alternator belt the auxiliary belt tensioner. Don't think that'll be here till after Christmas now though. Depends on the post, it might be here, it might not, so I may be sticking it on this week or next week, whenever it comes. But let's have a look at this welding and I'll show you what else I've got to do. Now that's the state of the welding at the moment. Most of that's pretty good. I've got to grind, hang on, I'll have to have wobbly cam for a minute. I've just got to grind this top edge down because there's a bit of a lip there that I don't want to keep. Mud and crap will accumulate behind that, so I want to grind that off. That weld's okay. That front weld's fine. That's a good weld. That's a really good weld. I've got a sharp edge just down here that needs grinding off. Just needs rounding off with the flat disc, it's a little bit sharp. That weld we did in the past, that's fine. It's just holding the fair lead plate on. But that weld there didn't penetrate. It's only a short piece, it's only that piece there. And it is welded on the back, so it is actually welded. But I just want to redo it. I'll just put another weld on that and then grind it off. Make sure it penetrates this time. Those welds, they're all good. That's I'm just go over that again. Actually, I'll just run a new weld down it. Must have had a bit of contamination in it because it's popped some holes in it. That's a nice weld. That's a really nice weld. That top edge again wants grinding off, so I'm going to do that. And we've got the same problem with this edge down here is sharp. But all this welding is actually welded on the back as well. I'm not going to lie on the floor and show you. Just take my word for it. It is welded on both sides. So it's plenty strong enough for what it is. But I just want to tidy it up before it's painted, because once I've painted it I can't weld it again. That's just a tie-in plate between the chassis box and the winch plate. That's okay. So I'm just going to get these bits done. Right, that rear diff has got to come out because there's some play in it. And I've got a good diff, so for now that's going to get changed out for a good diff. as you've just seen, guys, I've just given this a good grinding. That's alright now. So what I'm going to do now, just give it a coat of chassis black. It's horrible and humid, so I don't want any more rust getting into anything. I know this is a bit rusty, but it's a winch plate, I'm not that bothered about it. It's never going to rust through, it's a bit on the thick side, so give this a coat of paint. If I can ever get through the skin on the paint. There we go. All over the brush, that's it. That's what I want. We are going to be giving this probably a coat of Raptor liner once we've finished. But there's no point while we're welding and doing all the bits to it, because we don't know where we're going to be cutting next or welding another piece on. So for now, this is going to suffice. And if we want to put it outside, it also means that it isn't going to get any more rusty. Because I think we are going to have to put this outside shortly, because we're going to have to do the body shell. There you go. Doesn't a coat of black paint make all the difference? Looks pretty good now, I like that. So now that job's out of the way, let's get on to doing that diff. Hey, just had a parts delivery. Look what just turned up. Literally in the last 10 minutes. That's great. So at least we get to put that on in this video. I'm going to carry on doing this diff now. First job, drain the oil. Drain the oil, pull the half shaft, don't fall. So I'll get the GoPro out, get this oil out of this diff, get the half shafts pulled. Literally should take what, an hour, just to swap it over. The other one's sitting over in there in a box. So yeah, like I say, let's get the oil out. Yeah, there's a bit of water in that. We'll just leave that under there. Let's get these half shafts out. No, there's no thread lock on that one. Right, back to the bent wood chisel. This is much easier to do if the wheel's off. There we go. Oh yeah, that's full of crap. Right. Yeah, that's to be expected. But we're doing the wheel bearings, so all those will get cleaned out and sorted anyway. Right, I'll just get a cloth to catch that stuff. Yeah, there's mud in there. That's, if you see that. There you go, there you go. That's horrible. We'll save it, we'll make it better. Lovely. Let's have a look at these splines. You know, actually the splines aren't that bad. I've seen a lot worse. For now, they will do. We're not going to tighten that back up because we'll slip it back in, but we're not going to tighten it up because we're going to do the wheel bearings. But I need to order the wheel bearings, I keep forgetting. Alright, let's go and do the other side. I think this side's going to be exactly the same. Not actually as bad, but that's full of rust. That's just ground up rust in the grease that's in there. So yeah, nowhere near as bad as the other side, but still needs stripping, cleaning, new bearings. Especially on this size of tyre. Get a cloth. I think this bit. Okay, that's pretty grim in the middle. I think this has been ridden hard and put away wet. Yeah, there's water dripping off that. There's actually water running all the way down that, so there is water in the oil. Ridden hard, put away wet, definitely. The actual splines aren't worn. That's had the end ground off it. I think the diff's exploded at one time and eaten that. Well, in the great scheme of things, don't think that would affect anything. Let's pull this diff out and have a look. Paul's top tip of the day is remember these nuts are 9/16ths. They're not an imperial, they're not a metric nut, they're imperial. Don't try on doing them with a 14mm, they don't like it. I think that's jiggered. Pry bar, I think. Where's my little pry bar? Yeah, that does not want to come off. Can't get into it. I think it moved. Yeah, it did. That's it, it's gone. Forget how heavy they are. Actually, in the great scheme of things, you know. It's not a bad diff, it's not chewed up, it's just got a bit of play in it. Get away with re-shimming it. I'll re-shim that and the new front bearing be okay. These, this crown wheel's lovely. You know, that crown wheel doesn't look that old. I wonder if they rebuilt it. But anyway, we'll change this out and we'll keep this one. I thought it'd be a lot worse than that, but that crown gear's mint. Except for that, it isn't massive. But let's just swap it out. We'll put the other one in. The telltales of at one point this diff definitely grenaded itself. And you see where the shrapnel and bits of diff have hit the outer pan, and it's tried to chew through the pan there. So yeah, this the original diff definitely had a moment. And bent the back there, bent the rear pan. Nothing, you know, to worry about too much, but yeah. So we know what happened to the diff before this one anyway. So let's get this temporary replacement one in. Oh, well, I'll pull these bits of silicone off. Now I'm going to get some cleaner, and putting this diff back on is just the reverse of how I took it off, so I'm not going to film putting it back on. I'll show you when it's all done. I've just got these two diffs out. That's the one we've taken out. So solve this. You can. There you go. If you can hear, and if you can hear me over the noise of the motorbikes going round over there, but that's how much play there is in there, and that's purely down to shimming by the looks of it, because it's not in the. So that would actually, yeah, with a bit of shimming, and if I knew what I was doing. I don't build diffs. It's witchcraft to me. The guys who do it really know how to do it well, so I always let someone else build them. That diff actually isn't in bad condition. Just trying to see if there's any numbers on it. I do actually think that's been replaced. I will count all the gears and everything on it just to make sure that they are the same before I swap them. But let's get that one in. Now, there's no movement in that one at all. It's absolutely solid. So what I'm going to do, get this one cleaned up, put it back in, and just put this back together, because obviously I've got to pull out the shafts. As I was just saying, I thought I'd come up and actually speak to you. I'm going to put that new diff back in for now. I'm going to just put the shafts back in. I'm not going to fasten anything up because I've got to pull everything out. So I'm just going to drain all the rest of the oil out of this truck, see what the state of it is. Looking at what came out of that, I'm assuming the rest of it's pretty grotty too. But yeah, I'll put that back in. We will be getting a locker. I'm already looking for one, but just so as we get this built up, we can actually move it around, because I do actually want to test run it. So just pulling that back out in the future isn't going to be a big job. But yeah, drain the oil and stick that bit back on. So that's that diff back in. That's all nicely back in now. Like I say, it's just a temporary one till we get the one we want. Let's just put these plugs back in. I'm going to leave these loose as well. Feels like the one at the bottom. There it is. Leave them loose too, because they've got to be tightened up later. Stick that belt tensioner back in, which is all the way down there. She's now going to be a pain to do, but needs doing. Guys, as we've just seen the colour of the oil that came out of the rear diff, let's see what this looks like. Let me take my glove off so I don't end up with glove oil all over my glove. Hopefully this one's, oh no, that one's actually oil coloured. Right, let that drain. Pull the plugs out and I'll mark this diff as no oil in it as well. That's not too bad, is it? A bit black, but at least there's no water in it, so we'll have to find out how the water got into that rear one. I'm quite lucky when this came out. The stud came with it, so that's going to make it easier to put back on. Now, there's a locating lug on the back of these. I think that's in focus. Let you know which way this came on. And like I said, we were lucky the pin came out with that one, so that makes that much easier to put back on. So I think that's a 15. Find where the gap is in the fan. Helps if you have to belt the right side of the socket. There we go. Done. Sorted. Another job out of the way.